Hey guys, Andrew here for Nextrift, and this phone right here is the Xperia 10 Mark II, which is now available in Malaysia. It's a pretty interesting mid-range smartphone because it costs 1,799 ringgit. On top of that, at this price point, it only offers a Snapdragon 665 chip, which is not a processor you'd expect on a phone at this price point. That being said, it does have a few winning qualities here, so we're going to talk about that in this hands-on. So let's start with the display of the Xperia 10 Mark II. It has a 21:9 aspect ratio, so you get this narrow and very tall display that makes one-handed use with this phone very easy. It may look a little odd, but in a market where big smartphones are everywhere, it's refreshing to see a phone with this particular form factor. Besides that, this is also a 6-inch OLED display, so you get deep blacks, vibrant colors, and overall it's a high quality display that you will not find disappointing. Another interesting feature of this phone is its IP65 and IP68 rating, so you can wash this phone without worry and you wouldn't have to worry about water damage with this device, provided you don't bring it out swimming or anything like that. It's a pretty big deal for the Xperia 10 Mark II to come with this form of water resistance, given that in the sub 2,000 ringgit price range, only the new iPhone SE comes to mind with any form of water resistance. Granted, this is a 1.8K smartphone, but chances are it's the water resistance rating that drives up the price of this phone to an extent. Another big positive of this phone is its 3600 mAh battery. That doesn't sound very big, but this is a compact phone, so it can actually return very respectable battery life. Throughout my time with this phone, I can actually consistently get over 6 hours of screen on time, which is very respectable battery life. In fact, if you're a lighter smartphone user, I imagine you can get up to 2 days of use on a single charge. So far, I've only been highlighting positive aspects of the Xperia 10 Mark II, but of course it does have a few shortcomings. For one, the Snapdragon 665 chipset. Now, it's not that it's sluggish by any means, but it does show some slowdowns when I'm multitasking or playing some intensive games on this phone. But the point is, for 1.8K, you would expect to get much better performance out of this phone. In the camera department, that's also where this phone doesn't quite impress. On paper, it's actually quite an impressive camera system. It has a 12 megapixel primary sensor, an 8 megapixel telephoto lens, and another 8 megapixel ultra wide angle sensor. But when I actually start shooting with this phone, that's when I get a little bit unimpressed. For some reason, even though the frame is already in focus, when I tap the shutter button, it would try to get the focus yet again, which slows down the actual process of snapping the picture. To me, this does ruin the shooting experience of the phone, and as a result, it doesn't give the impression that this is a very responsive camera. And when you're trying to capture something that's moving or something that's just at the right moment, this can get very troublesome. That being said, until I get more time to shoot with this phone, I wouldn't pass on any verdict on the camera performance just yet. But for what it's worth, I am not thrilled to shoot with this device. All in all, even though I'm not quite impressed with the camera performance of the Sony Xperia 10 Mark II, I do quite enjoy using it as my daily driver. It has a compact form factor, the battery life is amazing, and the display is actually very nice, even though it's this tall, narrow aspect ratio. But whether or not it is worth 1,799 ringgit, stay tuned for the full review for an answer to that. Like this video if you like it, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and always stay tuned for more good stuff to come here at Nextrift.